Welcome to the Karma Verdict. Let us get started with today's story. Don't come to Christmas. My ex will be there, and I want to catch up, my girlfriend said after I had already planned a surprise and bought her dream gift. So, I returned the gift, packed my things, and left. A day later, she called crying because her ex brought his pregnant fiancée. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. The little blue box felt like a lodestone in my jacket pocket, a heavy secret. For 3 months, it had been my compass point. Every time Sarah had scrolled past that jeweler's Instagram post last September, sighing, "God, that Art Deco setting is literally my dream," I had made a mental note. Every time we had passed the store window in the city, and she had paused just for a second, I clocked it. The necklace was not just a gift. It was a symbol, proof that I listened, that I remembered. It was also the centerpiece of my grand Christmas surprise. Sarah had flown home to her family in Colorado a week early, stressed about finalizing some big project for her marketing firm. "I will just be buried in my old bedroom," she had said, kissing me goodbye at the airport. "It will be a working holiday until you get here. Christmas Eve will be our real start." Our plan was simple. I would fly in on the 24th, spend Christmas Day with her huge, noisy family, and then we would have 2 days alone at a cozy mountain cabin I booked before driving back together. But the surprise, my surprise, was that I was not coming on the 24th. I was coming on the 23rd. I had changed my flight, used a chunk of the bonus I had been quietly saving, and was going to show up at her family's door a full day early, necklace in hand, to sweep her away for a private romantic evening before the family chaos. I was packing my carry-on when her text came through. It was December 22nd. I was leaving in 12 hours. The phone buzzed on the bed beside my half-folded sweater. I saw her name and smiled, expecting a frantic emoji-filled message about her mom's cooking or her sister's kids. "Hey, so change of plans for tomorrow." My smile did not falter. She has no idea, I thought. "Do not come for Christmas Eve." The words were like a short, sharp jab to the diaphragm. The air left my lungs. I stared at the screen, waiting for the punchline. The follow-up. "Just kidding. Get here sooner." Nothing. "Mark is going to be here with his family. And honestly, I just want a chance to catch up with him without it being weird. It has been years. We will do our thing after New Year's." "Okay, thanks for understanding." I read it. Then I read it again. Then a third time. My eyes snagging on the phrases like hooks. "Do not come, Mark." Without it being weird. "Thanks for understanding, Mark." Her college boyfriend, the one with the trust fund and the condescending smile in every photo. The one who got away, a phrase she had only ever used once. Drunk and immediately tried to take back. I had never met him. He was a ghost in our relationship, a benchmark I had apparently never needed to worry about until now. The quiet of my apartment became absolute. A thick, cottony silence. I could hear the hum of the refrigerator, the distant pulse of traffic. I sat down on the edge of the bed, the carefully folded sweater now a crumpled lump under me. My first instinct, stupidly, was to explain, to tell her the surprise, to say, "But I am already coming. I have the necklace. We can still have our night," as if my grand romantic gesture could trump her desire to see Mark. A cold, clear wave washed over me, extinguishing that instinct. This was not a negotiation. This was a notification. She had uninvited me from Christmas to make room for a ghost, and she had done it via text the day before. I picked up the phone. My fingers were steady. I did not call. I typed, "I need you to explain this to me. Call me." 5 minutes passed. Then my phone rang. Her face flashed on the screen. A picture I had taken of her laughing in sunlight. It felt like a relic from a different life. I answered. "Hey, hey," she said. Her voice was light, slightly impatient. There was noise in the background. Family noise, dishes clattering, a kid yelling. "Normally you got my text." "I got it. You are uninviting me so you can catch up with Mark." I kept my voice flat, devoid of the tremor I felt in my chest. She let out a short, exasperated sigh. "God, do not say it like that. It is not an uninvitation. It is just complicated. The Andersons are old family friends. He is in town. He is going through some stuff, and I just need to be there for him as a friend. You being here would make it tense. You would be sitting there and I would feel watched." I absorbed the logic. He is going through stuff. I need to be there for him at Christmas. In her family home, My presence would be an obstacle to her support of another man. You need to be there for him, I repeated slowly. At Christmas, and I am what in the way? See, this is why I did not want to get into it. Her tone sharpened, a familiar defensiveness that usually preceded an argument. She was determined to win. You are making it about you. It is one night. It is not a big deal. We have our whole lives for Christmases. I think I need this closure with him so I can fully move on with us. Cannot you support me in that? It is just mature closure. Mature. The words were weapons carefully chosen to make my hurt seem childish. My silence stretched. James, are you there? Look, it is not a big deal. We will have a great time after New Year's. I promise. The blue box in my pocket seemed to burn against my thigh. The non-refundable cabin booking. The changed flight. The mental image I had cherished for weeks of her stunned, joyful face at the door, shattered and reformed into a new one. Her sitting by a fire with Mark sharing a nostalgic smile while I sat alone in our apartment understanding. So that is it, I said, my voice finally finding its new calm register. It was not her boyfriend's voice anymore. It was the voice of a man observing a very interesting, very sad phenomenon. You have decided I am not to come for Christmas Eve. Yes. Do not be dramatic. It is just logistics, right? I said logistics. So, we are good, she asked, the impatience returning. She was already moving on mentally to whatever catching up entailed. Yeah, Sarah, I said, looking around the bedroom we shared at the life I had thought we were building. We are good. I ended the call. I did not wait for her goodbye. For a long time, I just sat there. The anger came, a hot red wave, but it crested and broke quickly against the sheer, absurd cliffs of her disrespect. What was left in its wake was a profound, almost peaceful clarity. The how could she questions dissolved. She could. She did. The why was irrelevant. The only relevant fact was the action itself. She had chosen the possibility of Mark over the certainty of me. On one of the most significant nights of the year, and she had done it with the casual cruelty of someone canceling a haircut, I stood up. The first move was mechanical. I opened my laptop, navigated to the airline's website, and canceled my flight. The credit would go to my account for a future trip, a solo one. Next, I took the little blue box from my pocket. I held it in my palm. The weight of it, the promise of it now felt pathetic, a symbol of my devotion, ready to be offered to someone who saw my devotion as an inconvenience. I put it back in its velvet pouch, placed it in the larger gift bag with the tissue paper, and grabbed my coat. The jewelry store was in a nearby upscale mall, still decked with tinsel and bustling with last-minute shoppers. The same clerk who had helped me 3 months ago, a kind older woman named Elaine, recognized me. Back so soon. Did she not like the setting? She asked, her smile warm. The setting was perfect, I said. My voice even. The recipient, however, was not. I need to return it. Her smile faded into a look of gentle, professional pity. She did not ask for details. She simply processed the return. My credit card refunded with a soft cha-ching that felt like the closing of a ledger. As she handed me the receipt, she gave me a small, sympathetic nod. The right one will come along, dear, and she will appreciate it. I thanked her and left. The gift bag now empty in the trash can by the mall exit. Back in the apartment, the work began. I pulled my large suitcase and a set of cardboard boxes from the storage closet. I started in the bathroom, clearing my toiletries from the shower caddy, the shelf above the sink. I took only what was mine, the fancy razor she had bought me for my birthday, the cologne she said she loved. I left the half-used shampoo we shared. In the bedroom, I emptied my side of the closet, my drawers from the dresser. I was meticulous, a surgeon removing a foreign object. I took the framed photo of us from my nightstand. I left the one on hers. I stripped the sheets from the bed. They were mine, and left the mattress bare. I packed books from the shelves, the ones I brought to the relationship. I unplugged my gaming console from the living room television, coiled the wires with care. With each item boxed, each trace of me removed, the apartment did not feel emptier. It felt lighter, as if I was shedding a skin that had grown too tight, too thin. It took 4 hours. When I was done, the space that remained was hers, undiluted. It looked like the apartment of a stranger, or the apartment of the woman Sarah had been before I moved in. It was complete without me. I loaded the boxes and suitcase into my car. I did one final walk-through. Bathroom, bedroom, living room, kitchen. I saw a coffee mug I had bought her on a trip, the one that said, "World's okay, girlfriend." As a joke, I left it. At the front door, I paused. I took my key from my keyring. The metal was warm from my pocket. I laid it carefully on the small entryway table right in the center. Then I walked out, closed the door behind me, and drove to a hotel near the airport. I did not cry. I did not rage. I felt a vast echoing quiet. I ordered room service, watched a meaningless movie, and slept a deep, dreamless sleep. The hotel room was a capsule of sterile quiet. No tinsel, no Christmas music piped in, just the low hum of the climate control and the distant muffled sound of a news channel from the next room. I woke on the morning of the 23rd, the day I was supposed to be surprising her, and felt not devastation, but a hollow, clean simplicity. The grief was there, but it was a distant thing, locked behind a thick pane of glass. More present was the sheer relief of having acted, of being free from the waiting, the wondering, the pathetic hope that she would change her mind. I spent the day in a state of productive detachment. I found a storage unit near my office, rented it for 3 months, and moved all the boxes in my suitcase from the car into the small concrete space. It was an act of temporal bracketing. This is the interim. This is not my life anymore. I then drove to the only place that felt like a refuge, my older brother's house in the suburb. Mike took one look at me on his doorstep, my expression flat, no luggage in hand, and did not ask a single question. He just pulled the door wider. Beers in the fridge. Couch is yours. The kids are hyped on sugar and wrapping paper. Fair warning. It was perfect. The chaotic, loving noise of his family was a balm. I helped my nephew assemble a bewildering Lego spaceship, listened to my sister-in-law's work drama, and ate 3 helpings of lasagna. When Mike finally cornered me in the kitchen while loading the dishwasher, he leaned against the counter. "So, want to tell me why you are here and not in Colorado?" I told him in the same calm, factual tone I had used to pack my things. She uninvited me from Christmas Eve so she could catch up with her ex-boyfriend without me making it weird. So, I moved my stuff out. Mike stared at me, a dish towel frozen in his hand. Then, he let out a low whistle. "Wow, that is clinically shitty." He studied my face. "You okay?" "You seem weirdly okay." "I am weirdly okay," I said, and realized it was true. "I think I've been unhappy for a while. I just did not have a good enough reason to admit it." "Now I do," he nodded, clapping me on the shoulder. "Good, then we are glad you are here. Screw her." That night on his couch, I slept better than I had in months. Christmas Eve, my phone stayed dark and silent. I had muted notifications from her, but I had left the line open. Some detached, observational part of me was curious. Would she text a perfunctory Merry Christmas? Would she call, full of fake cheer, pretending our conversation never happened? I felt like a scientist waiting for a predictable reaction. The reaction came not with a text, but with a voicemail. It arrived at 11:37 at night. I was playing a video game with my nephew when I saw the notification. I waited until he was distracted by a flashy cut scene, then put my headphones in and walked to the guest bathroom. Locking the door, I pressed play. The sound that came through was not the Sarah I knew. It was a raw, wet, shattered version. Sobs hiccup through the message, broken by jagged breaths. "James. Oh my God. James, you will not believe what he did." A shuddering inhale. He brought her. He brought her as his fiancée, some blonde from Connecticut. And she is, her voice dropped to a horrified whisper. She is pregnant. Like really pregnant. Showing. And he made a whole big toast, holding her hand, going on about how this Christmas was a full circle moment and how excited they were to start their family. There was a sound like she was covering the phone, a muffled wail. Then she came back, her voice trembling with a toxic mix of heartbreak and fury. "He did it on purpose to humiliate me. He knew I would be here. He asked if I would be here. My whole family saw the whole thing. My mom keeps giving me these looks. My dad just left the room. Everyone is pretending it is fine, but it is. It is a massacre in here." She broke down again, the crying uncontrollable. Then, a shift. The desperation turned outward toward me. The tone became pleading, childlike. "I need you, please. I am so stupid. I see it now. I see everything so clearly. He is a monster. And you? You are my person, please. Can you just call me back? Just talk to me. Tell me it is going to be okay. I have never needed you more than I need you right now. Please, James." The message ended. I listened to it twice. The first time I tracked the facts, the pregnant fiancé, the public spectacle, her humiliation. The second time I listened to the subtext. Not once did she apologize to me, not for uninviting me, not for choosing Mark, not for her cruel dismissal. Her regret was entirely self-focused. She was humiliated. She was stupid. She needed comfort. I was merely the utility she now required, the emotional first aid kit she discarded but now expected to find fully stocked. I felt nothing. No vindication, no schadenfreude, just a cold final confirmation. The woman in that voicemail was the true Sarah. The one I had lived with had been a pleasant facade. This desperate, self-absorbed, entitled person was the reality. I deleted the voicemail. I did not call back. The texts began on Christmas morning. Did you get my message? I am really hurting. I cannot believe you are ignoring me on Christmas. This is so cruel. My family is asking where you are. I do not know what to tell them. You are making this so much harder. The blame shifting was immediate and breathtaking. I was being cruel. I was making it hard. Her actions had vanished from the narrative. I pictured her sitting amidst the torn wrapping paper in her family's pity, weaving a new story where she was the victim of two heartless men. I did not block her. I watched the story unfold in real time, like scrolling through a tragic, poorly written book. The climax of Act 2 came late on the 26th. So, that is it. You are just going to ghost me after 4 years. I am sitting here devastated and you are being so cold. This is so like you to run away when things get emotionally difficult to just shut down. Mark was right about you. He said you were passive and would not fight for anything. I guess he saw it too. There it was, the mask fully off. The anger, the lashing out. The direct quote from the enemy camp, Mark was right about you. The sentence hung in the digital air, toxic and revealing. It confirmed everything. They had not just caught up, they dissected our relationship. My character had been a topic of conversation between them. She had sat there and listened to her ex-boyfriend critique me, and she had stored his assessment away to use as a weapon now. A strange sense of peace settled over me. This was the gift. This text was the final definitive release. She had shown me the last hidden corner of her disrespect. There was nothing left to see. My fingers hovered over the screen. This was the moment for the final response. It needed no anger, no lengthy rebuttal. It needed to be a simple, factual statement of the new reality, a mirror held up to her own words. I typed 3 sentences. I read them over. They were perfect in their calm, utter finality. They contained no emotion, no sympathy, no hook for a reply. They were a door closing, a book being shelved. I pressed send. I listened to your messages. What happened with Mark? Sounds like it was exactly what you asked for. A chance to catch up. You got it. I have moved on. Do not contact me again. Then, and only then, I blocked her number. I went to the living room where Mike was watching a basketball game. You look lighter, he grunted, not taking his eyes off the screen. I am, I said, and I meant it. The cord was cut. The silence that followed was not waiting. It was just silence, and it belonged entirely to me. The silence after sending that text was not empty. It was full, thick with a peace I had not known in years. It was the sound of a constant low-grade alarm finally being switched off. I stayed at Mike's for a week, a ghost in the cheerful chaos of his post-holiday household. Slowly reassembling myself, the first thing I did was find a new apartment. A modern, compact one-bedroom downtown with a view of the river and no memories in the walls. It felt less like a home and more like a command center for a new life. I liked it that way. I threw myself into work. The project I had been coasting on, the one I deprioritized to plan the Christmas surprise, suddenly had my full furious focus. I was the first in the office, the last to leave. My boss, a perceptive woman named Clara, called me into her office in mid-January. I do not know what you have done with the easygoing James from Q4, she said, steepling her fingers. But I would like to keep this version. The Henderson proposal was exceptional. I am putting you forward to lead the new Aerospace Division Liaison Team. It is a significant promotion, and it requires a trip to their headquarters in Seattle next month. You interested? A promotion? Travel. A reason to be in the office past dark. It was a lifeline thrown to a man who was already swimming. But I grabbed it with both hands. Absolutely, I said and meant it. The messages from Sarah did not stop with the block. They just changed channels. A week after New Year's, my screen lit up with a call from Lisa, Sarah's mom. I stared at it. Lisa had always been sweet to me, if a bit overbearing. I felt a pang of obligation, then remembered the voicemail. My mom keeps giving me these looks and let it go to voicemail. James, honey, it is Lisa. Her voice was saccharine with concern. "We are all just so worried about you too. Sarah is a mess, sweetheart. Just a wreck. I know she made a silly mistake, but what is love without forgiveness? She needs you. This is when you stick by your woman. Give her a call. Okay, let us fix this. A silly mistake." The phrase was like a key unlocking a door to a whole hallway of toxic perspectives. This was the ecosystem that had created Sarah. I deleted it. Then came the flying monkey I dreaded most. Mia. Sarah's best friend. Mia's text was a masterpiece of aggressive loyalty. "James. What the fuck? You just abandoned her after what that prick Mark did to her. She is devastated. She messed up, but you are being a heartless. She spent 4 years building a life with you, and you throw it away over one night. Real men fight for their relationships. Call her." I did not engage. I just saved the number under Mia Toxic and blocked it. Real men fight for their relationships, the phrase echoed. I had fought. I had fought by planning a surprise, by buying a diamond necklace, by showing up for 4 years. What she meant was real men sit quietly and accept disrespect. I was done with that translation. The most telling attempt came in early February. An email. She must have dug up an old work email address. The subject line was, "Please, James, I do not know if you will read this. I am hoping you will. I am in therapy now. My therapist says I have a pattern of self-sabotage when I am close to real happiness. She says, what I did was a manifestation of deep-seated insecurity, not a reflection of my feelings for you. I see that now. I threw away the best thing I ever had because I was scared of how much I loved you. Is not that tragic? Mark is a hollow man. What he did confirmed everything you probably think of him, but it also showed me the stark contrast. Your solidity, your kindness, your quiet strength. I was too blind to see its value until I was surrounded by his flashy nothingness. I am not asking for you back right now. I am just asking for a conversation, a chance to apologize to your face, for closure for both of us. You owe yourself that, do not you? To not let something that was so beautiful end with a text. Please, James. Sarah, it was a better performance. It used the right words. Therapy, self-sabotage, solidity, closure. It even attempted a logical trap. You owe yourself that. But the core refrain was the same. My feelings, my therapy, my closure. My role was to provide an audience for her redemption arc. I did not reply. I created a filter that sent any email from her domain straight to the trash. The act felt surgical, clean. My own closure did not come from a conversation with her. It came from the new rhythms of my life. It came from the quiet satisfaction of a clean apartment. From the challenging buzz of my new role at work. From Saturday mornings at a climbing gym, instead of brunches with her friends. From reconnecting with my own friends who cautiously, then enthusiastically welcomed back the version of me they remembered before Sarah, the one who laughed easier. I was moving on, not with a dramatic flourish, but with a steady daily commitment to a life that was entirely mine. She was becoming a distant, unpleasant memory, like a bad flu, until the wedding. The invitation to Ben and Chloe's wedding had arrived months ago, a save-the-date when Sarah and I were still a unit. Ben was a college friend of mine. Chloe had become friendly with Sarah by association. I had RSVP'd for 2, long before Colorado. In the whirlwind of the new job and the move, I had forgotten about it. A reminder email in late April jolted me. We cannot wait to celebrate with you and Sarah. It chirped. I stared at it. This was the first real-world collision, the public test. I could not go. That would be the easiest, cleanest thing. But something in me rebelled against the idea of hiding. Hiding was what I did when I was with her, making myself smaller to accommodate her moods, her social wants. I was not that man anymore. I wrote back to Chloe a short, gracious note explaining that Sarah and I were no longer together, that I wished them all the joy in the world, and that I would completely understand if a +1 was no longer feasible. I offered to bow out. Chloe's call was immediate. James, oh my God, are you okay? Of course, you are still coming. Ben would be devastated. Please come. It will be good for you. So, I went. I bought a new, better-fitting suit. I went alone. The wedding was at a vineyard an hour north of the city. It was a perfect May evening. As I walked into the cocktail hour on the terrace, a flute of champagne in my hand, I saw her. She was standing with Mia and a few others from her periphery. She was thinner. Her laugh at something Mia said was too loud, too sharp. She was wearing a dress I recognized. One she bought for a wedding last year when she had spent the entire car ride home criticizing the bride's choices. Her eyes scanned the crowd, restless. They landed on me. The look on her face was a quickly shifting slide, shock, a flash of hope, then a hardening into performative hurt. She whispered something to Mia, who glared in my direction. I gave a small neutral nod and turned to find Ben, clapping him on the back, genuinely happy for my friend. I thought that might be it. Acknowledgement. I could avoid her all night. I was wrong. She cornered me by the stone wall overlooking the vineyards as the sun began to dip below the hills. She had clearly been working up to it, fueled by Pinot, James. Her voice was soft, tremulous, the therapy voice. "Sarah," I said, my tone polite, the way you would address a colleague you barely know. "You look good." She said it like an accusation. "Thank you. You look well." A harmless social lie. The pleasantries evaporated. She took a step closer, her eyes searching mine for the hurt, the anger, the love, anything to hook into. She found nothing but a calm, polite distance. It unnerved her. "I got your text," she said, the tremble becoming more pronounced. "That was so cold, James. After everything, you just dismissed me." I took a sip of champagne. I stated a fact. There was nothing left to discuss. Nothing left to discuss. A flash of the old anger quickly reigned in. We were together for 4 years. We talked about marriage. You just walked away without a fight. "You made your choice perfectly clear," I said, my voice still even. "I respected it. I removed myself from the situation you wanted. That was not the situation I wanted." Her whisper was fierce. "I wanted closure with the past so I could be fully present with you. You did not understand." "I understood," I said, finally meeting her eyes directly. "You wanted to explore an option with Mark, free of the complication of my presence." I understood and I obliged. "There is no confusion here, Sarah." The blunt, unvarnished truth of it stated without malice took the wind out of her. Her eyes filled with theatrical tears. "He used me. He humiliated me. My whole family saw. I have never been so alone." I waited. She was waiting for me to say, "I am sorry that happened to you," to offer the comfort she demanded in the voicemail. I said nothing. The silence stretched, becoming heavy, awkward. Her tears dried up, frustrated. "So that is it?" she finally asked, her voice small. "You feel nothing after all we had?" This was the moment. The final response was not in a text. It was here in person with the golden light of a setting sun casting long shadow. "I feel," I said, choosing my words with the same care I used in my new job, "that the person I was committed to no longer exists. The choices you made revealed her. I am more than that person. Now I am building a life that does not include the memory of her or the consequences of her choices. What you feel or what you need is not a currency I deal in anymore." She blinked, the clinical phrasing leaving her flustered. "Currency? What does that mean?" "I am not a transaction." "It means," I said, my tone finally warming with a faint, unshakable amusement, "that you are asking me to invest emotional energy in a venture that already bankrupted me once. I have closed that account. I am focused on profitable ventures now." I saw the comprehension dawn, and with it a final desperate spite. "Profitable? Like your little promotion?" Mia told me, "You think that makes you happy? You are just hiding in your work. You are alone." At that moment, Clara, my boss, walked over seamlessly, inserting herself into the circle. She placed a hand lightly on my arm, a gesture of casual professional fondness. "James, sorry to interrupt. The Henderson team lead just arrived. He is eager to meet you before Monday. Do you have a moment?" I smiled. A genuine, easy smile. "Of course." I turned back to Sarah. Her face was pale, her eyes wide, taking in Clara's confident presence, the mention of the prestigious client, the easy way I inhabited a world she knew nothing about. "If you will excuse me," I said, my voice the epitome of polite finality. I did not look back as I walked away with Clara. I did not need to. I had seen it in Sarah's eyes, the dawning, horrifying realization that her worst fear had come true. She was irrelevant. The story she had been telling herself of my pining, of my hidden hurt, of a love she could salvage was a fiction. I was not hiding in my work. I was thriving. I was not alone. I was surrounded by respect and new possibilities. And the man she had discarded was not broken. He was simply gone, replaced by someone calmer, stronger, and utterly uninterested in the wreckage she had left behind. The band started playing inside. The smell of dinner wafted through the air. I shook the hand of the important client, my mind fully engaged in the promising future. Somewhere behind me in the gathering twilight, a ghost from my past was finally fading away, and I did not spare a single thought to watch her go. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with our upcoming stories. Your support means the world to us.